My name is Daneker. I am a realtor in Philadelphia, and I have lived in Philadelphia, around Philadelphia my whole life.
That's awesome. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about Philadelphia?
Um, there's a lot. I think my favorite thing currently is the food scene. There's such a renaissance going on in the last 5, even decade, that it's not just about the cheesesteaks, everyone that comes to the cities was like, oh, tell me the great cheesesteak. And I'm like, okay, they're great, but like, there's like the taco bar around the corner, or the pho place, or the steakhouse, or the rooftop bar that makes specialty cocktails, or the happy hours, or city sips. There's just so much to do. It's really hard to stay skinny in the city because there's so much good food.
Yeah, no, definitely. Speaking of skinny, I saw your post this morning.
I know.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah, it has been the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life. And it was really humbling to see all the responses. It's as well as like it took me, as someone said, being brave, because like it's embarrassing to see like I let myself go to that point, and it has been 4 years of tears and saying no to that cupcake and getting up and going to the gym and leaving the gym crying. So it has been a really difficult experience, and being at the last 10% has been really fun too.
Yeah, that's amazing. You say it's difficult, but I think it's also rewarding at the same time, right?
It can be. The thing is that like we live in this instant gratification world. So you see these posts are like, hey, in 3 months I lost 90 pounds. Dude, it took me 4 years, and like I was crawling, and it was like every couple months I'd lose 5 to 10 pounds, but I maintained, and it was a very slow kind of downward thing. So it is rewarding. It just like you don't see it. Like one day I wake up, I'm like, oh wow, look at that. Okay. So you just have to just keep with it, just keep with it. It's time over task. It really is, or task over time.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that like everybody's body is different, right?
Yeah, and things don't work all the time. Like someone asked me earlier today, like, what are you doing? And I was like, what haven't I done? I have tried the gym, and like I've been in the gym for 3 months now. I haven't lost any weight, but it's about getting stronger and building endurance and actually enjoying the gym for what it is, right? Not looking at hoping to lose 10 pounds in the next 6 months. I'm just trying to enjoy it and enjoy the experience in that moment. And keto worked for a while, and intermittent fasting worked for a while, and I kind of had to integrate them in my life in a way that was functional, because after a while it didn't work. I wanted bread. I missed pizza. I was hungry after I worked out. I could not eat. So just readjustments, and constantly, I like to say it's like a really hard math problem. I'm constantly trying to solve it.
Yeah, I think that's a great metaphor for life too.
Oh my God. No one told me life would be this hard. So it
Nobody
definitely,
ever tells you, so.
no, no, adulting is awful. I wish I was 16 again. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much just starting the adulting thing, and I'm already struggling, so.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I wish I could say it get easier, but it doesn't. But it builds character. So there's that.
Absolutely. So you talk about all the different food scenes in Philadelphia. It sounds like a pretty diverse culture. Can you tell us a little bit about like the different attitudes of the neighborhoods?
So the neighborhoods are one thing I really love about Philadelphia. Every time I travel a lot, so every time I leave and come back, I fall in love with it just a little bit more. South Philly has this deep-rooted Italian history where we get the Italian market and Rocky and the famous Philly accent. We have West Philadelphia, which Will Smith put on the map, but it's not just born and raised. It's the culture, it's the building, it's the architects, it's the oversized carriage houses and the greenscapes that it has. We have Fairmount, who has this close-knit culture where you can walk into a bar and everyone does know your name, and they stick with their neighborhoods and raise them up to celebrate them and come together in times of trials and tribulations. There's Fishtown and Kensington that has this great renaissance that is happening, that is literally just flowing around the city, and it's helping really just keep this renaissance going for the last 5 years, if not longer.
Yeah, it all sounds like so different for every area,
It
but
is.
I think one thing about Philadelphia that I talked or told you about in the questions is that everyone knows that it's such a hardworking city. Like, where do you think that comes from?
Well, we are the birthplace of America, and I think that's how people recognize us. But, Philadelphia has always been a blue collar, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, manufacturing town. There's tons of lofts now that were manufacturers or cotton mills, or I'm saying all the wrong terms, but they were blue collar workers who made this town what it is, the grit of the city. So, and it's still very much engrossed in our culture.
Yeah, it's evident every time it's portrayed in movies. I've never been to Philadelphia. I don't get to travel that much, but I learned through movies. Sometimes I know it's not the best representation of it because it doesn't show the real people. But from what I've got, everyone seems to really just work hard and kind of alludes to that blue collar that you've been talking about.
Yeah, we're tough and rough, but we love big too. So
Yeah, I think it shows in all the sports teams too. Everyone's
yeah,
so gritty.
we are. Oh God, we are. But we're fierce. We're loyal. We are. We're the friend that you call at 2 a.m. to pick you up when you need a ride, and we're the friend that fights for you, and we root for you, and we're there for better or worse. That's Philadelphia.
Yep, and even your the Flyers mascot, his name is literally Gritty. So
Yeah, and we love
yeah,
him. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he scared me at the start, but
here's everyone at the start. But
yeah, yeah. So you talk about all the good things about Philadelphia. We know that it's a hardworking city, and it's got some great stuff as far as the food, the multiculturalism. Is there anything that annoys you about Philadelphia though in your own city?
so the potholes. My street right now has been worked on for the last month and a half. So potholes are definitely, the roads are definitely in need of some love. But that's always been the case. So yeah, I would say the roads. My car has luckily not blown a tire recently, but there's been close calls where I'm like, oh, please God, please don't say. So winters are hard for us with the roads.
Yeah, same for us. So our office, our marketing office is in Edmonton, Alberta, like in
Okay.
Canada. And in Edmonton, we always say that there's two seasons. There's winter and then there's construction. When the snow
That's definitely right.
stops, when the snow stops, they just work on the roads and then they get bad
Definitely.
again. So it's traffic year round or potholes year round. So it's not the best.
I
Yeah.
completely understand, especially with all the new construction and all the buildings that are being renovated. Not only do we have the potholes, but we also have just roads that are completely out of commission for months on end. So I get it.
Absolutely, yeah. You talk about buildings under construction. Is there anything in Philadelphia that's kind of being renovated as far as like for real estate goes?
I mean, I have two houses right now on my block that are being renovated. The Met in Philly it's a new music venue right off of Broad Street that just opened, I think, this year. And that has been renovated and it's beautiful inside. The Fillmore, which is another music place, was an old factory that has been renovated into this grand music, venue as well. That also has like a bar, an indoor brewery attached to it, a comedy bar, like just tons of, yeah, we do a lot of that. We like to see Philadelphia, luckily, likes to keep a lot of the culture. So a lot of the contractors are more into buying an old building that's run down and renovating it into something new and to keep the character and the charm of the city alive.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line with that. Sometimes when you do renovate, you kind of lose, that old piece of that building. But it's a good thing that you guys are, keeping that alive because I think it's important.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It brings warmth and charm into the city that you need to keep and
Mhm.
people appreciate.
Yeah, I think it allows the citizens to also remember, like, where you came from.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Besides, fixing roads, fixing all these potholes, if you were in charge of Philadelphia or mayor for a day, what would you do?
So I have been in Philadelphia since I was 18. I went to Temple. And I remember it being a little scarier than it is now. And maybe I'm just engrossed in it. But one thing that I've seen that has been constant is cleaning up our city and making it beautiful. So if I was in charge for a day, I would make it just mandatory for us to go out and continue to clean up our streets, continue to beautify our city, because I have seen it progress, and I would love to see it just keep progressing more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually talked to a real estate broker from Washington, and she said the exact same thing. So that's really funny.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Besides, fixing the roads, making sure that the city's nice and clean. Is there anything else you would add as far as like policies or anything like that, or?
With the gentrification that's happening in the city, what I would hope that the city really gets on board is sustainable housing, affordable housing, because an area like Fishtown, right now it's priced out. It's high. 10 years ago, you could buy a house for $100,000, and now a new house is on average $300,000. So it's a great area. Crime has gone down, house values have gone up, but for the normal, person, it can be really unaffordable. So what I wish the city would do is to provide affordable housing to all walks of life, to all people, so that they can live in a good area and get a good education and live in a safe neighborhood and make our community diverse.
Yeah, I think if you invest in that diversity, it can do wonders for a community.
Unfortunately, big business tends to run the world. So, that has been a constant struggle, is a lot of contractors don't want to spend the money unless they see the return. So I think that the government needs to step in to be able to support those contractors so they can make the money and also provide affordable housing to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. That affordable housing, though, everyone seems like they want it, but again, like you said, with the big businesses, if people are profit motivated, it can get pretty difficult.
It is, and profit margins are small. When you look at renovating houses, when you look at the cost, it becomes really a small margin of success, a small margin of profit when it gets down to it. I talk to a lot of investors. I meet with a lot of investors who especially want to start investing, want to build their real estate portfolio, and talking to them realistically and saying to them, like, look, if you're renovating a house, you're not making $50,000. You might only make $10,000 off the first house, and you might be spending 6 months renovating it, buying it, holding it, taking out a loan or using the cash at hand to only come out with $10,000 to maybe $20,000 at the end. Doesn't feel like a lot. But again, it's doing many, getting better at it, and over time.
Yeah, definitely. So I can tell you're very passionate about your work. What got you into real estate? Can you take us through, that background?
So I was a teacher for 10 years. I was in education, and I loved education. I still love education. I wanted to change the world. I really did. And unfortunately, education is super hard. I got into education in 2008 when everything just crashed. Jobs were not happening. So I luckily made it through 10 years. I directed a lot of schools, opened preschools, wrote curriculum, and I loved it. But I came to a time about 5 years ago where I was working 60 hours, and I felt like I was getting no thank you. And I knew that if I wanted to get the pay raise that I wanted, because unfortunately, if I could live off of nothing, I would, but I have bills. So if I wanted to get the pay raise I wanted, I would have to go back to school. I would have to get my master's or PhD, and that student debt did not make sense at the time. So I switched careers, and I got into real estate, and I actually became what's called a director of operations. I ran a team. So I ran a team, about 10 people, and I was doing that for about 4.5 years. And recently I had the opportunity to basically be an independent agent. And that's what I've been doing for the last handful of months.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I think you saw one of our first interviewee, CJ Reynolds. Yeah, he's from Philadelphia, and he's a grade 9 literature teacher. He's amazing. He cares about his kids so much, and I'm sure you did too, right? That's why most people teach.
I did. I really did. Unfortunately, I couldn't I didn't have the resources at hand. I didn't, subbing. Some of my friends were subbing for 5 or 6 years before they find a permanent job. It just didn't work out for me. And not that I wasn't passionate the whole time. I just wanted something where I could breathe for a minute, you know, and I just couldn't invest in the education, but he was amazing. I saw him, and like I have friends that are teachers, and they are amazing, and I give them all the credit in the world. And but this feels like the right thing for me. Like it was the right move. I love what I do. I love what I'm doing because I'm good at it. Like and that's what brings me passion, is being good at something and being able to help people. So it was the right career move.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the thing that aligns with teachers in real estate is that you want to help people, right? And
Yeah.
just from talking to you within these 15 minutes, I can tell that that's all you're about. So that's great.
Yeah, it's, you know, with real estate, this is the biggest purchase of probably your life, okay? Yeah, you'll buy a new car and maybe a really expensive jacket one day, or that $3,000 couch, but when are you going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house? One of the biggest purchases in your life. I have a leather jacket in my other room right now that's $100. I'm like, I don't know if I should buy it. So people need the help and the guidance in terms of buying a home, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be there. Call me, you know, at 6 o'clock at night when you're having a meltdown. You're like, I don't know if I need this house, you know, explaining what's wrong with the house, showing you houses, you know, like I say to my clients a lot that it's like a relationship. First, you love looking at houses with me. You get excited. It's exciting. You go into a house, you imagine yourself in there, then you get exhausted. Then you don't want to talk to me anymore because you can't find the right house. And then we eventually find the house, and you know it's yours because you have to go through all these processes. So yeah, I'm just there to help and guide them through the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. You kind of alluded to just the process in general, but do you think you could take us through a step by step with your usual client?
Yeah. So we are in a Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is a non-lawyer state. What that means, if we were in New York City and New York State is a lawyer state. So if I was an agent in New York, I would take you out to look at a house. And if you would say, hey, Case, I want to buy the house, I'd say, okay, here's my lawyer. And then we'd be done, right? I wouldn't do anything else. I'm literally just a door opener for the most part. With a non-lawyer state, I do all the things a lawyer does. So I'm showing you the house. I'm negotiating the price. I'm negotiating inspection. I'm making sure your title report comes in so you have no liens on the house. I am helping schedule the work that needs to be done for the house prior to closing. And then I'm there at the settlement table with you to celebrate. So, and with selling, it's also the same thing. I'm staging the house for you. I am helping with pulling tax certs once we get under contract. I'm negotiating inspections and price, and I'm there at the settlement table. So it becomes a process where I might not know you, but in 3 months, we're going to become best friends because we're going to be talking every day. So.
It sounds like you can make it fairly personal too, and I think you can kind of get that trust right off the bat.
I mean, I'm a personal person. Like, I think that luckily my parents raised me that I'm fairly disarming to talk to me. So that's a really great quality in sales. That just is natural. But most of my clients just naturally become my friends. And how can they not? We spend every weekend together for 3 months. We're looking at houses for 10 hours. We're hungry, so we go out to eat, you know? So they all become my friends, which is phenomenal. Like, that's what I want. Who doesn't want more friends? So, yeah.
Absolutely. I think the whole process just allows you to make friends, and it's just an ongoing networking event.
It is. So, I mean, one of the great things is that my clients become my friends is if I do a good job, and I want to do a good job, there's no reason why I don't want to do a good job. And they become my friends, then they are my advocates. They are my marketing piece. My friends, family, and clients are the ones who give me business. They're the ones who tell other people, you know what, call Casey. And that's has been one of my biggest marketing pieces, was that if I do a good job for them, they will absolutely refer me other business.
Definitely. One of the real estate investors that we had spoken to in the past had said he relies on a lot of repeat business. And it sounds like that's what this is, right?
It is. Repeat business is a huge part of our how we get our income. referring people doing so. Um, yeah, and also being engrossed in the community, like another part of my business is people knowing who I am, going to civil associations, being at festivals, going to new restaurants and meeting the owner, and just people knowing who I am in Fishtown, Philadelphia. So that's really huge.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things going on in Edmonton right now is a lot of suburbs are coming up on the outer skirts of the city, so we're expanding, and we'll have these community welcoming events, and there'll be like thousands of people just in these neighborhoods, and it really allows everyone to get to know it and to kind of see how far it's come, because it takes a while to build a community, right? So
Yeah.
would you say Philadelphia has anything like that with new suburbs or just new development in general?
So the suburbs, what I like to say about Philadelphia is most people live in the city and then have children and then move out to the suburbs because we have really great school districts. So one thing that we have in the city that has been the suburbs have been mimicking is what we call First Friday. So First Friday it actually started in Old City. And First Friday was basically for gallery owners because Old City is full of beautiful galleries. And the first of every Friday of the month, they open up the galleries, have wine and cheese, have sidewalk art displayed, and people would walk around and grab a wine, look at art, and hopefully people would be encouraged to continue to come back to Old City. This has now progressed to all parts of the city and become sort of more of a festival. And now we also see it in the suburbs. I think Lansdale right now, where I grew up, does a First Friday as well. And it's become more of not so much an art scene, but more of like restaurants having discounted appetizer drinks, having musicians playing on the streets, selling jewelry or clothes. So it's become, and people love it because you just walk down the street of your main street on a Friday night and it's cheap and easy and affordable, and you get to see a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. I think it kind of brings us back to that investing in your own community. Something about recent trends is globalization, and technology and social media has really affected that. And people will go to Amazon or they'll go to Walmart just to get these things. But it's a lot more rewarding when you actually go to a small business within your community, help them out, because it sounds like you guys are pretty tight knit in Philadelphia. So I think it definitely helps the community as a whole. Now, it sounds like you have a real drive for that. Where do you think that comes from?
A drive for community, or I just love the idea. Like one of the reasons I love the city is I love the idea of walking to my grocery store. I love the idea of walking home and stopping by the small grocery store River Ward that has organic produce and flowers, and I can just pick up a few things and walk home. I love the idea of seeing people dream something like the restaurant and being able to put it into real life and it to be successful. Cedar Point, one of our great restaurants in Fishtown, they're local and they opened up and they're vegan based and they're delicious. It's just really nice to see local business, and to grow the community with local business and to support local business. And I think Fishtown does it really well. I don't know if you know this, but and this might make some people offended, but we actually kicked a Starbucks out. So we have a lot of great coffee shops in Philadelphia in general, and in Fishtown. We have La Colombe, we have Reanimator, we have Steep and Grind, and Fannie Lou's. And they want to put a Starbucks in because corporate wants to be where Fishtown is. Everyone in the nation has heard about Fishtown. So we said no. We have enough coffee shops. We don't want a Starbucks. Our personality is not Starbucks. Our personality is local, sustainable businesses, and we want to grow that. We don't want a Starbucks because we can get better coffee at one of our local coffee places.
Yeah, I love that. That is amazing.
I love it
too. My parents used to own a little coffee shop over in West Edmonton Mall. And unfortunately, like Starbucks was obviously one of their main competitors when they came in. And I think Starbucks does that to just about everywhere they go. They'll come in and they'll take these customers away. So it sounds great that you guys are actually taking a stand to it.
Yeah. And look, Starbucks has college tuition. They have great benefits. They pay their employees really well. It's not to say that they're not great, but like we want to provide growth for local businesses, and we want to be different. We want to be a renaissance. We want to change, you know, the way business is done in at least Fishtown.
Absolutely, because I think once you kind of get away from that, you lose your sense of self.
Yes, and sense of community.
Yeah, which is extremely important, especially it sounds like with Fishtown. So that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Um, just going back to like the beginning of your career and how far you've come, were there any goals that you set for yourself, and have they changed a little bit along this process?
Yeah. I mean, look, when I was in education, my thought was to be a principal and to run schools. And, you know, I didn't have a clear plan. I was young, maybe a little disillusioned, which is fine. That's what happens. Things change. But once I got into the last year, I realized that I have a whole new set of goals. I want to be what we call a mega agent. I want to settle 10 million in sales. I want to redefine my brand, you know, so when people see me, they're like, you know what, she sells houses, which is a huge endeavor for me, but I think I can do it. You know, I'm pretty determined and pretty motivated. So, and as I get older, my goals become easier to accomplish because I get better at achieving things.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you do start to set those goals, it lets you just evolve as a person at the same time.
Yeah, definitely
Uh,
growing a lot. Things that are not hard, you do not grow from. So if you're having a really difficult moment, if you're struggling, if you're tired, if you're if you're spinning your wheels, keep pushing, because those moments of hardship and frustration is going to grow you in your business and in your personal life, and you're going to be better at the end. And you don't know it when you're in it. You never know it when you're in it. You cry and you hate it. But once you're at the end, you're like, oh, I'm here. It's, you know, I did it. I'm so much better for who I am right now.
yeah, those moments of adversity just make the person who they are, right? They build so much character.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. Can you take us through any of these moments of adversity that you've experienced, and what you've
Now,
learned from them?
with this question you asked,
Yeah.
with adversity, are you talking about like adversity, like in the workplace because I'm a woman, or are you talking about just my hardship in real estate?
I guess whatever it is you'd be comfortable with sharing with us. It could be either or.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think everyone has adversities. Number one, everyone in life has adversities. Um, as a woman, I dealt with my own unique adversities. I always looked too young. Maybe I talked too fast. Maybe I wasn't experienced. Maybe I looked not as smart. It happened. And that happened with getting clients and working with colleagues, both in education and in real estate. It didn't change. Um, I have never been one to engage in those kind of situations. If someone doesn't like me, if someone wants to say mean things about me, if someone wants to be competitive against me, if that's their prerogative, that has nothing to do with me. My solution has always been to succeed is keep my head down, be determined, never give up. And I'll show you at the end how good of a job I do. I'm going to prove my worth. I'm not going to speak my worth.
That's amazing. I think you gotta show whatever it is that you're passionate about to really show your value, right? Because
Yes.
anyone can talk the talk, but you gotta walk it too, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Completely agree.
I think that's, from what I can tell, that's something you've lived by pretty much your whole life.
My father, it was my father, you know, my father was always like, keep your chin up, you know, work hard, you know, just keep working hard. He's like, whenever you have a problem, he's like, everything's solved by hard work. He's like, I promise you, if you're broke, you work harder. If you're tired, you work harder. You just work harder and it solves everything. So, and it really has worked out well for me. And I am tired all the time.
Tired is a good feeling now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. At least I know I'll sleep at night. So
Exactly. I hope moments like these, you can kind of take a look back at your career and say like, wow, I have come a long way. So
I have. I mean, part of the, you know, I'm a little feisty. So you can imagine what I was 15 years ago. So I got myself in a bit of trouble, much of the Philadelphia mouth on me. So, you know, being able to grow from this and learning that I can speak my mind without offending everyone in the room and being able to get my point across in an eloquent way, and has been very much a learning curve for me, but I've come quite a bit. I'm rather impressed with myself.
Yeah, and that's all you can really ask for is to just be happy with where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I talked about it earlier, just like the ongoing trend of globalization and how far technology is innovated in social media. How has this impacted your real estate career?
In terms of social media being such a huge marketing tool?
Yeah, that's it.
So I remember when Facebook was like just for college people, how cool we were. So cool. It was like a secret club. It was fantastic. And the last decade has completely changed in the way we market, in the way we brand ourselves. It has not just become a place where I connect with you or I thumbs up a good picture. It's become a place where I continually put out there to friends, families, clients, coworkers, what I do. And it's important because if you think about Kleenex, right? Why do we say tissue? Why do we say Kleenex instead of tissue? Because we're constantly seeing it, right? We're constantly seeing Kleenex or Windex. And that's what social media, Facebook, Instagram has done, is when they think of real estate, I hope they think of me because I'm constantly doing it. I'm constantly showing them that I'm settling on houses or showing houses or listing houses. So it is overwhelming and I have no idea how to learn it all. I constantly am asking people, but I know if I use it in the right way, it can take my business to a different level.
Absolutely. I'm a marketing major, so social media has done wonders for my career path, hopefully.
Yeah. I might have to pick your brain later then.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if you ever need some help with it, I'm
yeah.
here for you.
I'm going to take you up on that because I have like so many questions all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've talked about your career quite a bit, but what do you like to do outside of work? Any activities or hobbies?
Yeah. So I ride my bike around the city a lot. I have my I call it a Pee Wee Herman bike because it's like neon blue and neon yellow with a basket and the bell. And it's not like a fancy like speed bike. I just cruise around. I put like flowers and cupcakes in the basket. But I love riding. Philadelphia's fairly flat, so I like riding my bike. I love going to restaurants. I said that before. It's one of my favorite things about the city. So me and my friends will at least once a month, probably more like 4 times a month, go to like a brand new restaurant and try out things. I love to travel. And this is weird. I love to see new places, but my favorite part about traveling is coming home to Philadelphia because it really makes me appreciate it just a little bit more. And I mean, as you see, working out, I wouldn't say that's like a favorite thing to do. It's not something I love to do. It's something I do because health is important. So that has been really a huge thing in my life over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. Now you talked about these great restaurants. Do you guys have like a main spot you go to, or do you just try new things every time?
Where do I go? So there's so many that I can go somewhere different all the time. North 3rd in Northern Liberties. I love. They know me. They know my name. I go in. I love their food. I love their drinks. So that's like a really nice, easy spot. I also love Loco Pez. They have dollar taco night, but it's secret. So like you don't know it until they put it on Twitter, and then you can run there. So it's delicious. Love Loco Pez. Cedar Point, Interstate Draft. I love Interstate. They have great specials, and their Fishtown iced tea is amazing. It's literally like a Long Island iced tea, but it's in like it's in like this plastic box thing. If you ever come, you have to try it. Murph's, which is an Irish bar that has fantastic Italian food, like that. Like you wouldn't think this little Irish dive bar has the most amazing Italian food in the city. There's Chew and Stock. Chew has this great Asian fusion Jewish food, so I can get like a bowl of ramen with like like this braised pork shoulder in it. It's delicious. There's just so many. I could just list, and that's just in Fishtown. That's just within like a half-mile radius of my house. So again, it's really hard to be skinny in this town.
Well, it sounds like there's such a good variety that you can't really go wrong anywhere.
There is. There's Heffa Tacos that like it has outdoor dining that you just walk up to the window and can get a taco and like walk to the gym, or Usually I walk from the gym, get the taco, and then walk home. So it's too easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds so convenient that there's just a nice taco place right next to where you're sweating for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and there's like this octopus octopus fried taco that has like spicy mayo. It's phenomenal. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day, so like thinking about it, I'm like Sally, like I'm drooling.
Okay, I'll try to stay away from the food for the first little bit here then. um, as far as like your hobbies and with work, how do you balance out all this?
I don't. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an independent contractor, and someone just really doing this on my own, I don't. I work all the time. Part of it comes because I love working. I've always been a workaholic. It fulfills me in ways that I can't even explain. Um, have I gotten in disagreements with people, or not disagreements? Have people been like, "Casey, you got to put away your phone"? I'm like, "Yeah, I got to put away my phone." But if a client calls me at 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to answer. There's a reason they're calling at 9 o'clock at night. It's, and I want to be there for them. It's important to be there for them. So I work all the time. After I'm done here, I have a listing appointment I have to go to, and then I have showings. And hopefully, if I have the energy, I can go to the spin class at 7. But that's becoming further and further away.
Well, it sounds like your clients are your number one priority, and I think that's a good priority to have.
It is. It is. I mean, like, I think the balance will eventually come. I think any business owner, entrepreneur is going to say that, like, they work a lot. They work a lot because they're passionate about what they do, and they want to be successful. If you look at independent business owners, successful business owners, they probably work more than 40 hours, but it doesn't feel like work because they love it. Maybe it does feel like work, but they still love it. So I think it just comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, you said earlier, your clients are basically your friends, so it's really just talking to your friends, right?
It is. It is. There's always difficult conversations. I'm really good at difficult conversations. So that has become really easy for me. But yeah, they all become my friends. They all become at least acquaintances, people that I would never mind to go out for a drink with, and people that I can talk very candidly with.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you do take the time just to, get to know them, understand where they're coming from, understand their circumstances. And I think that will really go a long way.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. So what advice do you think you would give to anyone either wanting to get into real estate, has always wanted to get into real estate, or just would give to a regular person that's starting their career with whatever it may be?
I'm doing a lot of talking, so I have to take a drink. Don't do it if you think it's going to be easy. I ran a business. I ran a real estate team for 4 years, and I saw a lot of new agents come in, and we're really excited. And look, great, be excited, but be realistic and have goals. And sometimes I cold call for 4 hours. People hang up on me. I leave messages. It's not easy. And it doesn't mean, just because you want to do something doesn't mean you're A, going to be good at it, or B, be successful at it. So you have to realize, and there's not really a right reason or wrong reason to do real estate. I think the reason that people do real estate is because they want to make money. It's not like they don't understand how much they'll be helping someone until they're in the transaction and actually helping people. They do it because they have this idea that I'll make tons of money. I'll get $1 million listing. I spent 3 years in real estate, and my friends and family are just starting to trust me with their real estate decisions. So it took a lot of time to build that up. And that's what people have to think about, is that, are they willing to wait? How long are they willing to wait to do these things? How putting in the time now does not mean it's going to happen automatically. It might happen 6 months from now. And is that okay? Can you afford that? It's hard. It's really hard.
Would you say those are your main takeaways as well, or like lessons you've learned?
Yeah, it's time over task. I remember agents would come up to me and be like, well, how do you get a listing? I was like, you just keep putting yourself out there. You keep making phone calls. You knock on doors. You talk to people. You don't become a secret agent. You let people know who you are. And eventually it will happen. I don't know when that eventually is, but it will happen.
Yeah. And once it does, it sounds like the floodgates just open. And
It does. It does. I just went on a listing appointment today. I've been hounding the guy for 2 months. 2 months. Hey, Josh, when do you want to meet? Hey, Josh, week later, just checking in again. And 2 months, he finally met with me. And he said, thank you, Casey. Thank you for being persistent. That's what I do. I'm a nag. I'm just going to nag you. And I said, I won't stop until you tell me to go away. And, we got the listing and we're hoping to list it in February.
yeah, I think that persistency kind of just comes naturally to you.
It does. Go ahead. Oh, what?
Do you think it can be learned?
Oh.
Or do you think you're kind of just born with it?
I don't know if I was born with it. I definitely learned a lot from my parents. My mom and dad are probably the hardest. I'm going to start crying. My mom and dad are probably the hardest workers I know. And my dad works 7 days a week all the time. He's a blue collar worker and he's amazing. And my mom, I'm oldest of 4. So she not only managed a household with 4 children, but she worked part-time and at nighttime and provided us everything we could ever possibly need. And seeing that, I remember being like 10 or 11, being like, I don't ever want to not pull my weight. I don't ever not want to work as hard as them, because that is so admirable, right? And so I've always been persistent. My father, I played softball a lot in high school. Was really good at it, but not because I was natural. I wasn't born with it. Never had natural ability. But I was good because I woke up every day and went to practice, and I went to the gym, and I went to batting practice, and I took football camp with 200 boys just to get my speed up, to run to the bases faster. So I think part of it is and this is not saying that I'm anything amazing, but at a young age, I just saw what hard work and determination could get me and what my parents were doing. And I wanted to make them proud and do it for them.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to all that. I mean, my parents being first generation immigrants, they came here about 30 years ago, and they started their own business. Now they're financial advisors, and I always saw that hard work in them, and I just wanted to emulate it in my own life. Like I've had a full-time job for 8 years now or whatever, like throughout school, through high school, university. And I don't know, I always knew that I wanted to work for it. And I think that if I did work for it, then I'd be more like my parents, which is exactly what I've wanted to be my entire life. So
yeah. And it's just, it's just amazing, right? It's amazing what our parents have done for us, what they were able to sacrifice in order to give us more. So I think I've always wanted to try to give that back, to show them that I saw it. I saw what they did. I saw all the hard work they did to provide these things. And I want to make sure that they know that I'm going to work hard to make my life as great as they want it to be.
Sorry for making you cry, Casey. That's, but I can tell you're really passionate about it, so I'm happy you got to, reflect.
Oh, God.
So I'll take a second, just.
Okay.
I'm sure neither of us were expecting this conversation.
No, I wasn't. I've been practicing for since the interviews came in, since the questions came in. So that was not practiced.
Hey, I've been practicing myself, so it's like that was out of the blue. But yeah, at the end of the day, with this interview, we just want to talk about whatever it is that you're passionate about. And obviously, you're passionate about your career. You're passionate about your community. You're passionate about whatever it is that's going on with your personal life as well. Like, your parents have been such great role models. I can already tell. Are there any like mentors you've had along the way that you've had to look up to and help you throughout your career?
I mean, I've had different mentors. In high school, I remember my sixth grade teacher, Miss Sykes, was just someone that I looked up to. She made me love reading more than I already did. I remember my softball coach, Lenny Deal, pushing me, telling me that even though I was the smallest on the team and not the most talented, that if I worked hard, I would become great. And I did. I was really good. And it was because of how hard he pushed me to work hard and to become good at it. I remember my first boss, Nancy, at Huntington Learning Center when I was, in education and trying to make my way. And she just taught me how to close a deal, always be closing, ABC. And she did such a great job. I remember, more recently, my previous employer, Beth Sandberg. Beth has taught me so much, and she is so amazing in what she does. And I literally, when she talks, all I do is listen. She'll say that sometimes I don't listen, but I really, I really do. I met with her for today. She did a listing appointment with me, and who doesn't want to sign a listing with her? Who doesn't want to sell a house from her? And then, there's Lindsay Soprani, who I currently work for. And she has always believed in me. Even when she helped me she was the recruiter that helped place me with Beth. She has been someone that just, even though I doubt myself because I'm super self-critical, she has always believed in me. And that has been really nice. I don't believe her, but she just keeps, she keeps pumping me up and raising me up. And that's really nice.
Yeah, I think it's great for anyone to have that mentor in their life. Do you think you've kind of taken on that role yourself? That mentor?
Not yet. No, I'm not. I mean, like someone would say that, Casey, you know a lot, and I do know a lot, but I don't think I'm at a mentor level yet. I like one of the agents, I feel so bad. One of the agents was like, "Can you help me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not ready to help you. I have to help myself first. I have to figure this out." Like, he's like, "Well, can I watch you?" And I was like, "Watch me do what?" He's like, "Do you?" And I was like, that's weird. I feel uncomfortable. I don't know. So, but maybe I'll get there. Give me a year, and then, maybe I'll be mentoring someone.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're on the way, but at the same time, it's good that you have this self-awareness and understand that if you watch me, I won't be able to do my job properly. So yeah, that's a good realization. Yeah. Maybe going on a more lighter tone here. Your Instagram bio. You talk about wanting to become a vampire slash hipster or both. Can you take us through that?
I love vampires, and I've always loved vampires, and it's my mother. My mother loves everything supernatural. So I grew up on the Lost Boys and watching Interview with the Vampire and reading Anne Rice, and we used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, we love vampires. So, so that's just something that my mother loved fantasy, that's something that's really engrossed in me, and I enjoy fantasy. Hipster, that came from Fishtown. I moved to Fishtown 10 years ago, and seeing these eccentric musician personalities, and I was like, how I want to be that. I'm not creative in the least. Like, there's nothing creative about me. So seeing these people wear these beautiful clothing and pulling off these cool trends, and I'm like, here I am with my cardigan and like my cargo pants, and I just felt so not cool. But my hope is to one day be both. And I know that's impossible, but I'll keep trying.
Hey, you seem pretty creative to me, just by going through your social media and talking to you today.
Thank you.
I think creativity is more the ideas and thoughts that go on in your head, and you seem to have a lot of them. So
I do have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, cargo pants are coming back, so maybe just bring them out.
Are they? Oh, they never looked good on me, so I might stay away.
Were they just the regular ones, or were they the ones that you could tear off and make into like?
Oh no. They have boundaries. Yeah. Not the ones I could tear off, just the regular ones.
Yeah, we never went full dad or anything.
No.
So does that love for, it sounds just like fiction for vampires. Does that come from like the classic like folklore, or has it been a lot of just popular culture that's influenced that?
I mean, I just love fantasy. I love, my degree is in secondary English. So I actually have an English degree. I can teach 7th through 12th. So I love literature in general. My mother, is definitely a huge fantasy person. So, we grew up on the Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal. So where's another one? There's another one. One more. That's okay. I won't be able to think of it. So I just always have enjoyed, the idea, the thought that there's a little magic out there, I think it's good. Keeps me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just something to, believe in.
Something to have fun with. So I definitely enjoy it. Every aspect of it, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what do you think of the more recent ones, like the Twilight iterations and all that
I
stuff?
love Twilight. Twilight got me out of a bad breakup. I was 25 years old and I came home for Christmas and my sister was reading it and I was crying about this boy that broke up with me and I read Twilight and it made me believe in love again and I was obsessed with it in my late 20s. I think Harry Potter is so great and it gets kids into reading. I mean, this ties back to my education and my love for books, but like to be able to have this kind of excitement around literature, whether it's Harry Potter or Twilight, is amazing. True Blood, yeah, I read all the books, saw all the series, fantastic, loved every bit of it, still love every bit of it. Yeah, I love it all. I really do, and I'm the first one in the theater to like dissect it to say like, oh, this is why it's good or why it's bad. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I love to just like dissect stuff. I love to read as well. Can you tell us about some of your favorite books or your favorite movies?
So probably Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? Love it. I also Lost Boys, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. David Bowie is like I wanted to marry him when I was like 10. Uh, in terms of books, one of my favorite books is World War Z about zombies. Love it. Um, but I also love classic literature like Garden of Eden by Ernest Hemingway is my all-time favorite. I read it like every year. Looking at my bookcase. I read all the time, so I'm just give it to me and I'll just read it.
Yeah, it's just kind of whatever's in front of you, you'll kind of just consume. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, we can talk a little bit though. And I gave you this hypothetical scenario whether if an apocalypse happened tomorrow, what would you do? Where would you go? Can you take us through, your mindset through that if it were to happen tomorrow?
I've thought about this a lot. Like me and my friends have had absolute discussions and plans and like laid things out. This has been like these are like long nights of discussions, and we've all decided that even though I survive, I die immediately. I am dead. Mostly because I see a poor little kitten in the corner and I have to go get it, and I put it in my backpack and my knee gives out and I get eaten alive. So, so yeah, I'm not going to last long. I'm trying to figure out how I can last longer. And that's why I've been working out for 4 years and getting healthier because I don't want to be the first to die. But I'm probably going to die first.
You don't think you could be like Brad Pitt in World War Z?
Oh, I wish I could. I mean, look, here's my problem. I have a false sense of security. I think I could beat you up. I'm 5'1". I think I could take on anyone. I literally have a baseball bat by my door that like just in case anything would happen. And my friends are like, what can get solved with a baseball bat? I don't know, but I have it. So in my head, I think I can do it, but like realistically, I'm gonna die.
You know what? When you said you're 5'1", I'm not much taller. I'm only like 5'7", but I've always had
That's
that.
a lot taller. That's 6 inches taller.
For guys, especially living in North America, you see these Caucasian dudes that are like 6 feet. So, but my mindset has always been like, yeah, I could take that guy.
There you go. See, right? So I mean, like, I have been mugged twice. And they look. Number one, they were both caught. We caught them and put them in jail. But like, I chased after one. The other one knocked me unconscious, but my best friend Katie chased after him and got him. So again, I don't recommend this and don't do it. But like under the gun, why would I chase after someone who mugged me? But I did. So again, the false sense of security. I have this weird way that I think I'm going to take on the world, and I probably should just sit back down.
I think it goes back to your feisty personality.
Yeah, it probably does. It gets me in trouble sometimes, but
Right.
normally gets me out of it too.
Right. So if it was a zombie apocalypse, you don't think you would? Have you seen Zombieland?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think you'd be just like that, just hunting them down?
Again, in my head, I'm going to rule the world. I'm going to kill all the zombies. But my friends have said that unfortunately, Casey, you're going to be the first to die. So, what can I do?
They sound like great friends. So.
They really, they're
uh,
honest, if anything else.
right. I think you need honest friends. So.
We do. I do. My friends are, am I allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, go ahead. You can do whatever you want.
My friends are assholes. And I love them so much. They're my favorite group of people. But they're assholes. They're they're tough Philadelphian people. And like I didn't realize it because I go down to Baltimore quite often. And the people, my friends in Baltimore are super polite and they're mild mannered and they're very nice. And my one good friend said to me, Tiffany, she's like, don't you see it? I said, see what? She's like, you see how intense you guys are. You're intense, you're loud, you're crude, you're in your face. I'm like, oh, we're assholes. So, but they're fantastic and I love them.
Right. You know, I think you guys have a lot of these stereotypes that you are loud and some of you may be assholes, but to me, I think you're just witty and honest.
We're definitely honest. We're definitely honest. We're just, we don't care if you like us or not. We're going to do us. We're going to do me, and if you don't like us, whatever, we're going to keep on moving. So that's definitely Philadelphia. It's like, take it. This is who we are. You're either going to like us or hate us, but we're going to keep on doing us.
Yeah, it sounds like the least insecure group of people in Philadelphia.
Yeah. And we get in trouble a lot because of it,
Right, right. But, you come back from it, so it's not too bad.
We always do. We always end up on top.
Yeah, yeah. Now, kind of our final overarching trend here, I was going to ask you whether you're an iPhone or an Android person.
So I am an iPhone person, but I've only been an iPhone person for about 5 months. Prior to that, for 10, 15 years, I was an Android person. So I would hope that this isn't a question that defines the decade, because I hope we have more important questions. But I like both of them and hate both of them for purely different reasons. So.
Well, it's good to have a contrast because I've pretty much been iPhone my whole life. Can you talk about what's better for each?
I really like Android for business. Simple things that, so like I do a lot of my connecting with people in the morning. So, but sending someone a text at 5 a.m. isn't appropriate. So what I used to do with my Android phone is I used to set text messages up. So I could schedule all the text messages to go out at 10 a.m. So then it looks like I'm communicating with you throughout the day, but I'm really doing other things. So I love that feature. iPhone doesn't have it. If someone hears me and I'm not looking at something correctly and they do have it, let me know, because I haven't been able to figure that out. I use Gmail a lot. I mean, we all do. So I had to like switch it. I didn't want to use the Apple email address, so I had to switch that over. iPhone's just really natural with a lot of its movements. So, and takes really pretty pictures of me. So that's always a good, to post on Instagram. And everyone that's an iPhone user always says, congrats for changing over. And no one ever says that on Android. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I think a lot of iPhone users are a little pretentious, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. The reason I got an iPhone was because I wanted to try to be cool. I hit 35 years old, and I was like, you know what, Casey? Spend the money, get an iPhone, be cool. And I got an iPhone, and I felt cool. I even feel cool now. So
I'm glad it does that for you, because I'm very pro iPhone. So yeah. All right, Casey. That's pretty much all of our questions here for you. Today's been pretty fun. I hope you had fun as well.
Yeah.
You answered all of our questions with complete honesty, and that's what stuck out the most when we were looking at your profile. So
Well, thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Nice meeting you.